So I know you've heard the meme or the idea that you should never, ever sign over your publishing. There's been a couple of pretty notable artists and bands that have made this comment in various interviews. And so this meme has really taken hold of the producer and musician community, which is no matter what, never sign over your publishing. And it's something that I certainly dealt with when I first got into the licensing business, because the first arrangement or the first contract that I was offered asked that 100% of our publishing as a band get transferred over to a library. And that was really uncomfortable for us. We really didn't want to do that. We had been told, as you probably have and gotten that advice, never sign over your publishing. It's just terrible. They're screwing you over. You're selling your soul if you do that. In this video, I want to explain why you're going to have to get comfortable with this idea if you want to succeed in the licensing business, but also it's not selling your soul at all. Okay, so I want to sort of give you that confirmation that I have not sold my soul. I am not selling out. I haven't done anything that's compromised my integrity as a producer or as an artist or as a creative person. Okay, I was able to create a full-time income for myself through this industry by understanding this one simple change of understanding about how the licensing business works. And it's so simple that you're going to kind of kick yourself after you watch this video and think, why didn't I think of that? And why didn't I see that sort of clearly? You'll see what I'm talking about here. So in the licensing business, if you're not clear, you're not sure, many, if not all, of the contracts you'll sign with a music library will require you to transfer either a portion or all of your publishing interests and royalties rights to the library. Okay, why does that happen? Well, because they're acting as the publisher in that arrangement, right? You're the creative person, you're the artist, you're the producer, you're the composer. So you're going to be earning your writer's share of the royalties, which is 50% of the royalties, right? But they're doing all the paperwork and the registrations and shopping them to their clients and trying to get your music placed and doing all that sort of legwork, phone calls, emails, right? There's a lot of work that has to be done to run a library. I have many friends that run libraries and I know how much work it is, okay? So there's a lot of work that has to be done to get those tracks into TV shows, movies, and commercials, radio spots, streaming services, et cetera, right? So why would they be doing all this work? Nobody does anything for free, okay? There's no free lunch out there. They need to be making money off that. Sometimes they'll get the upfront sync fees and share them with you as the writer. Sometimes they don't collect those, but definitely what they're going to be going for, whatever their upfront strategy is, their back-end strategy is, they got to get those publishing royalties in the long run to keep them afloat. Okay, so when I was with the band and we were offered a contract that took 100% of our publishing rights, we decided no as a band because we were still trying to shop our music for labels and for other deals. So if we had signed this deal with this one music library, that kind of excluded us from any potential opportunities for those tracks in the future. So as a band, didn't make sense at all. But myself, as an individual composer, aside from the band, I decided, you know what, I want to start making music for this industry. And I'm okay with transferring those rights to these companies, to these music libraries, if they can get me paid. So here's the big thing that maybe will be sort of an obvious note of concept for you that you maybe never thought about before. What happened for me is, as a band, it made sense not to sign it over because we had other plans, right? So if you have other plans for your publishing, then sure, don't do that. But I want you to think right now, you probably, if you've not been accepted by a library yet, you do own 100% of the publishing on your music, right? If you have 5 tracks done, 100 tracks sitting on your hard drive, it doesn't matter. If you've never signed any deals or any contracts, you own 100% of the publishing there, right? Now answer this question. How much money have you made by owning that publishing? If the answer is anything other than zero, then you might think about not signing that publishing over. Like, in other words, if you're making, a couple $100s every month, or you got a couple thousand coming in from different opportunities that you've been self-publishing, right, and getting your music out there distributed and that kind of a thing, then yeah, I probably would be second guessing signing any publishing over if I'm making currently some money off of that publishing. But I can almost guarantee 99% of you watching this video right now are making nothing. You make no income, you have no royalties coming in, you've never signed a deal, you've never signed a contract, or very little, to the point where it's negligible. It's been just like, whatever, pocket change essentially, right, over the years. So you are totally welcome to keep 100% of your publishing. But if it's not doing anything for you, what are you holding on to it for? right? Somebody told you at some point in your history, never sign over your publishing. Now, they had a different circumstance than you did, okay? That's an artist, that's a songwriter, that's somebody with a label deal talking about, wow, look how much money I've lost because I signed my publishing over to my record deal. That's not you. You're not in that situation, okay? You're in a very different situation. You are trying to get yourself established in an industry where other people need to be incentivized to shop your music. So if you come to the table and go, well, I'm keeping 100% of everything, and I don't want you guys to share any of my income, right? Go ahead and keep 100% of that. Zero, right? You're holding on to 100% of nothing that's going to be coming to you in the future. If you do agree to sign over your publishing interest to a company, like a music library, you're at least giving that interest to a company that can help make you money. So you need to understand that people don't do anything for free, okay? And if you don't want to give people an incentive to shop your music and try to get you placements, then you're not getting any royalties. You're not getting any placements. You've got to learn how to be a team player in this industry, okay? The really beautiful thing about incentives and creating incentives is that you can have people working for you around the clock tirelessly without paying them up front, right? They're going to earn money on the back end. But right now, because I have my music in probably 5, 6, 7 different libraries over the course of my career, I have probably at least a dozen people right now as I make this video shopping my music, representing my music, trying to get my music placed out there, right? So do you know how powerful that feels to know that while I'm sleeping, while I'm doing other things, I have an army of like employees essentially, not really, but they are working for me, right? They're trying to get me a placement. Why? Because it gets them paid, right? So if I don't make money, they don't make money. And it's basically the only way that you can win in this business. You have to be a team player and understand that you're going to have to sign those deals if you want to be accepted. You know, I mean, libraries are somewhat flexible in their contracts, but in many ways they have their sort of standards that are like, no, this is just what we offer everybody. And if you're not cool with it, no worries, we'll find somebody else that is. So if it's a deal breaker for you, then maybe bow out of the industry right now. If that's just one of those things you can't wrap your head around, you can't figure out a way to make it okay for yourself to do that, or to see like why it's probably a wise move to start partnering with companies in this manner, then this industry is just going to be so hard for you, right? Because most people are going to want to have something. They need something to take your music, right? Why are they just going to? Nobody does anything out of just the goodness of their heart and just work. I mean, once in a while people do nice things, right? But they're not going to build a business and spend decades creating a catalog and serving clients just for their health. It's a business. They're trying to make money. They're trying to be profitable, right? They've got mortgages. They've got families, just like you do, okay? Everybody needs to be succeeding in this business for it to work. And when everybody does play their role the right way, right? You create very licensable cues, you submit to the right companies, you sign good contracts that are fair, that get you your writer share and maybe get you some sync fees, upfront fees, maybe some consideration fees as well. And then they do their part to get your tracks placed and they earn their back-end publishing royalties. Everybody is winning, okay? It's a team effort. You cannot do this on your own. Nobody can do this on their own. And if you're not willing to make agreements and partnerships and deal with people, it's just not going to be a business for you. And I don't think it's just exclusive to the licensing industry. I just think across the board in the music business, if you're not willing to wheel and deal and negotiate and compromise and try to make a win-win for everybody, nobody wants to do business with you and nobody will sign it. So that's your big question for this video is, are you going to hold on to 100% of nothing, or are you going to empower those to get you placements, right? Are you going to empower those people in companies and libraries that can help you earn income with your publishing, right? That's the question you got to decide. One piece of advice that I will give, if it's still like really uncomfortable for you to think about your music being signed over in the publishing department, create two separate catalogs, okay? Have a personalized artist catalog that you don't ever sign your publishing over. You keep that for yourself. It's for your own opportunities. Maybe you're shopping for a deal or something else down the road. Who knows what you're going to get. But create a separate one that's just for licensing. And this is going to be the catalog that maybe you don't have to be so personally invested in, right? You don't have to be so attached to that, okay, I'm going to make this for functional production use for TV shows, movies, and commercials because I want to start making some money. And that it could be the one that you are okay and comfortable with signing publishing rights over to, right? Because this is not a personalized catalog for you. The other one could be where you put the ones that are really, really special and important to you that you don't want to sign over. But production music, you make so much music in this business that you'll have a couple of favorites, of course, but you don't get personally attached to any one particular track really that much, which is kind of freeing actually in many ways. Some producers think that's kind of weird, but I think it's very freeing because it makes you a better producer. You don't get so like, you know, it's our biggest problem as producers or bands. We think that the last song that we made is the best thing we've ever done, right? Which is totally not, is never true. You do 1 or 2 things a year which are great, everything else is kind of okay, and then, you know, it's just the way it is. It's a numbers game. But when you don't get your ego so personally attached to the music that you're creating, you can actually create a lot higher quality music. It's kind of this weird thing where you're kind of like freeing yourself from being such a perfectionist about things. And when you kind of just get to go into the sandbox and start playing around, you start getting these new awesome inventive ideas that you wouldn't have if you were always in like that kind of like critic mode already. Like, oh, this isn't the best thing I've ever done, so throw it away. I don't love it, right? In the licensing business, it's just making sure that it's functional and licensable. It does need to be high quality, but it's a much different sort of game than maybe your original artist kind of a deal that you're working on. So hopefully that helps make sense, give some clarity to you. And I would make that choice today. Like either you're gonna play ball and do it this way, or you're gonna decide that music licensing is not your cup of tea. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's not for everybody. I've said that 1,000 times on this channel. It's not for all producers. It's not for all musicians. You do have to have a different kind of a mindset to really succeed in this business. And when you do start seeing those royalties and that income coming in, you're going to be thankful that you made that choice. I know that I am. I have no regrets about making that choice to sign my publishing over to the companies that have helped me create a full-time income for myself making music. Okay, so it's a grown-up decision. That's really what it is. You know, there is no sort of you know, one path has all the pros, one path has all the cons. It's like make a really easy choice. No, obviously in life you just have a couple of different options of choices, and each one has its pros and cons. You got to just make that choice for yourself. So I hope this video maybe helps you make that choice, whatever direction you decide to go. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe if you're new to the channel.